Hey, this is Eric from Catching Light.
Hey, this is Hemp.
Hey, this is Glenn.
Hi, I'm Steve-O.
Hey, this is Drew Hines with Hindsight Imagery.
This is Matt Callahan in Digimatty Photographic Services.
Hey, this is Jason, and welcome to Tales from the Pit.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tales from the Pit. We're joined tonight with John, Sanjay, and Barry of Shinedown. We're talking all things photography and concerts here tonight. And let's start off by going over to you, Barry. So first and foremost, all of us here are concert photographers. And the question for you is, are you into photography, and what do you like about photography?
The answer is yes. I'm into photography. Really got into it, I'd say probably 10, 15 years ago, maybe 10, more like 10, where I got into it and started doing my own photography and taking pictures. And I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a professional like you guys, but I enjoy photography. I've always really liked photography. My mom was an amateur photographer, and she would develop her own film and had her 35 millimeter cameras and things of that nature back when we did film. So I kind of grew up around it, and she would teach me just the basics and how to look at things maybe differently. For me, my favorite style of photography is more landscape, nature, cityscape, things of that nature. I can't take a good picture of a person to save my life. I'm not into it. I can't do it. I don't do concert photography. It doesn't strike me. And if I take a picture of somebody, it's always the worst angle possible. I don't do portraiture. I don't do it. Even if I take a picture of my daughter, I'm like, and my wife's an amateur photographer as well. So she does all that because she's got the polar opposite. She takes really good portraiture, especially of kids. She worked with kids for many years, especially with kids that have special needs. So she's able to pull the right looks, and she knows when that look's going to happen, is able to get it, much like you guys, when you've gotten so used to taking concert photography, you know when that person's about to jump or that light's going to be just right on their face and things of that nature. There's a special talent to it, and I appreciate that. But for me, it's more the landscape or cityscape and nature photography. It's going to sit still for me. I can set up my shot, and I enjoy that part of it.
I can certainly relate to that, Barry, definitely.
When it comes to being an artist on stage, you probably get a ton of photos of yourself or of the band or anything like that, from a wide variety of people like us to just people in the crowds to everything in between. Is there something that you would like to see, or is there something that you wish people would do more of when they take photos of you, or something to that effect?
Of me personally, yes and no. It's funny. I see pictures of myself, and it's the polar opposite of who I am as a person. I look angry and mad most of the time. And Sanjay can attest to that because he's probably taken more shots of me than anybody. For some reason, I've got this menacing looking face, and because that's just how I get into playing the song.
That Viking look.
Yeah, and it's completely opposite of my personality. I'm a teddy bear. So I find if somebody can get that natural smile, or that one moment of any of us in the band of the, not the show, but that natural look, that's always the one I'm looking for. That's the one that strikes me and goes, oh, that they got me, my true personality, not just the rock and roll thing. And other than that, I think the most frustrating thing, and within the band, and we always send them around via texts or things like that, or we'll go, check this one out. And you've got the worst look on your face. It looks like you're about to shit yourself, or they catch you mid-jump and your face is all contorted, and they, the person that took that picture thinks it's a great picture, I guess, and they post it everywhere, and you look at it and go, oh my God, that's not even me. That's not my face. Especially Eric's had some epic ones. I think they catch him when he jumps, and as soon as he hits the stage and his face goes, whoo, they catch it right then, and it's like Nosferatu or something. It's crazy looking.
Tell you what, Barry, next time you're in Guilford, look for the photographers out front and give us your best smile.
I'll do it.
Okay? We'll be looking for you, buddy.
I'm always smiling.
You know, I want to talk about that for a minute because I know we all know that there's bands out there that they want to review that stuff before we post it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's not us. That's not our personality. I mean, if we're doing a professional photo shoot, we're going to look through all of them. You know, if it's going to be an album shot or if it's going to be an 8x10 shot or something of that nature, yeah, we're going to look through every single one and make sure each one of us approves of how we look in that photo, because that's timeless and forever. But nowadays, with so much material going out there, if you guys are having fun and you get a few for your venue or whatnot, it's going to raise its hand if it's a really great shot, because it's going to get shared instantly through social media. And if it's not a good shot of the band person or member, it just won't get shared. You know, I think those people that try to micromanage every little thing, oh, look, I might have a little bit of a love handle, or, you know, oh, my face is fat today, whatever, get over it. Let it be. We don't micromanage like that.
So how do you and Sanjay work together when it comes to photos? Do you ever like say, hey, Sanjay, I want to try this thing tonight at this song? Do you guys coordinate that sort of things?
Yeah, we've done
Yeah, within reason. You know, if I notice myself, I'm doing something every night, because again, I'm a creature of habit, so my show becomes a little repetitive as far as the way I might hit things or do things. And I notice that maybe Sanjay hasn't gotten that shot. I'll be, hey man, second chorus, this song, I'm going to jump up. Can you try to get that tonight? And then he goes, well, I'll try to get it, but you have a pirate head at the same time, and I can't be there because there's too much fire on stage. And I go, oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm an idiot. But vice versa, Sanjay, a lot of times, Sanjay's more, I don't realize what I'm doing in the moment. So he'll go, I've noticed the past few nights you've been doing this. Do you mind if I get up there when you're doing that or playing this song? I think I can get something really cool, whether it's photography or video, that he can put together into something. And what's nice about Sanjay is we give him the leeway to not only ask us any time, but be an artist, be you. We hired you because we like what you do. Go do that. And if you need something from us, let us know.
That's cool, yeah.
That's a nice relationship. That's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, Sanjay, what's your regular workflow for the day? I mean, you must take tons of photos and have to process a lot and video.
Basically, once I get into the venue and get set up, typically I'll see B walk in first from the bus. John's in there, and we all kind of do our own thing. And I'll review the night before. Like, I used to sit down right away and try and edit everything I could, and then it was just a lot. So they'll play a show, I'll get my shots. The next morning is when I review those shots, and I'll kind of go through, pick out. I think on the last one I said it's 250 to 400 photos a show. So, I mean, it varies. And then from there, I'll kind of go through, see the ones that I really think are awesome. And like we were just talking about, I'll always try to look at the faces, look at the shadows, make sure it all kind of looks good. There's been a couple times where a couple of them slip through, but life goes on and we're all good.
Only one for me.
And I'll just edit up stuff, man. And we put it into a Dropbox. I'll text B some photos and he'll write back like, oh, fuck yeah, that one's great. I love it. I mean, I think I have just as many photos of John as I do some of the guys. And it's just like that's my work day, is I'll go through the night before, I'll find the shots, I'll text them out, I'll send the ones, people will post them up, and then I'll get into the video world. And that's the one that takes the time. So it's like I can go through photos, and it's been so many years now of just turn and burn where I know what I'm looking for and what looks cool to me, that I can do the photos generally pretty quick. And then I'll focus down on the video because that's so much more time consuming. And then, I mean, throughout the day, the meet and greets and stuff like that. So that's always
do. Sorry, Sanjay. I said you were also showing me too that in his workflow, because he has been doing it so long, whether it's between Lightroom or Photoshop, he's created so many presets of, you know, because the lighting in a concert doesn't change that much. You know, you guys know that. And when you get used to that show and what the lighting scheme is going to be, he knows that everything's got this horrible blue hue that's got to be taken out, and he creates that preset for it, so it's going to make his workflow that much quicker.
Barry, do you get into Lightroom at all, or?
I do. I use Lightroom for the most part. I don't do a lot of Photoshop.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not something that interests me, but I do enjoy Lightroom, and I've forced myself. I used to be, when you first get Lightroom and everything's so easy, I'm crushing the contrast on it, and everything's going to be, it almost looks like a cartoon at some point. It's fun to play with these buttons, right? And then I look back at it and go, wow, you destroyed that picture. It's just too much. I've gotten to the point now where I try to be bare minimum, get the good shot, and then maybe, I always shoot in color. So if I want to flip it to black and white, I'm going to flip it to black and white. I love black and white photography. And then maybe I'll boost my reds and yellows depending on the hue of that original shot. But I try, for the most part, to edit minimally. And Sanjay's taught me a few tricks too of a focal point and how to really draw the eye in on certain shots by expanding that grid and really focusing your eyes. So it's nice to have somebody who's been doing it long enough. He can show me shortcuts and whatnot. But I think the biggest thing I've learned over the years is less is more.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your photography, so we're just sort of starting to touch on that now. Why photography?
I think initial interest was it was twofold. For me, it's a hobby that you can do on the road. And number two, I'm visiting all these great places that I never thought I'd be able to visit. Why not take pictures of it? And that goes back to our part one of this series that I can't remember anything, so I better take a picture of it. So that was it for me, because trying to capture the grandeur of the London Tower on a camera is fun to me, and I haven't gotten it yet, but I sure as hell I'm trying, or the Christmas markets, which Sanjay and John and I spent a lot of time in overseas. They're amazing. These Christmas markets, especially in Germany and those areas. Wow. And to go around and the three of us being nerds and taking pictures of that's fun. And then, you might get a day off and you're near Custer State Park. And you can go take pictures of buffalo. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Why not? That's and you can put it all in your backpack.
So we'll get into sharing some of your guys' photos, because we have photos from all three of you that are pretty spectacular. But before we do that, what is your preferred gear? What's your preferred lens and all that stuff?
For me, I'm a twofold guy, and Sanjay, I tease him all the time. I'm a Nikon guy initially, and he's a Canon guy. So, and there's rights and wrongs to both. They both, it's like a BMW or a Mercedes. They're both going to get the job done. It's what are you used to? And I think Canon was way ahead, and I'll admit it, when it came to video. So I get that whole thing, especially when they came out with 5D or whatever. But I'm a Nikon guy, and I've got a friend that, Mike Corrado, who works at Nikon, who kind of introduced me and was able to give me a lot of tips. He let me borrow some lenses and things of that nature. And then I guess to be 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half ago, I took the leap and got a Leica. And I got the QP, which is a non-interchangeable lens Leica, because I found out over the years of working with my Nikons, I like a prime lens. I want a fixed 50, I want a fixed 35, I want a fixed 80. That's where I want to be, and you better get it in that angle. I'm not going to zoom in on it. That's where I want it. I want a low f-stop. This is where I'm going to be. And that's what I like about this Leica, is it forces me to be right here, and that's all you have to work with. And for me, that reminds me of drumming on a small drum set and making it sound like a massive drum set. All you need is a kick, snare, and hi-hats, and you can play a song. Same if you just have just a fixed lens, and this is what you got. That's it for me. Nikon, Leica, and I'm a Mac guy.
And John,
you don't sound like a freaking amateur. You don't sound like a hobbyist to me.
No, I was thinking the same thing, Steve. Yeah, no kidding.
And John,
he was just reading the instruction books before this, so we're good.
Sanjay sent him a cheat sheet ahead of time.
Lots of YouTube.
John, you're a Leica guy as well, right?
Fuji, actually.
Oh, Fuji. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
I was, we just got back from Europe in December, and I was talking with Sanjay, because I only really like landscape stuff, or, I hate taking pictures of people, and like inanimate objects, I don't find any interest, but if it's like landscape, like a sunrise or sunset, or like an old barn in the distance, and so I asked Sanjay, we kind of looked around, and he said it's the Fuji X100 series, and I just have, I'm one of those people, I used to do photography in like grade school through up to college, like darkroom stuff, and I loved it. But obviously with sports, everything, I kind of lost kind of whatever. And so now I kind of I never read directions. I mean, unless I'm dealing with fuel or something that could blow up. So I kind of get lost in it. It took me like 2 months really to figure out what all these buttons do. It's a fixed lens, but you kind of get into some of these weird kind of like shutter speeds and apertures. And I'm just like, it's cool to kind of do trial and error. That's where I get kind of a lot of fun with it.
That's cool. I mean, having Sanjay, I mean, you guys got like the golden resource with you right there, because obviously both for his eye and his editing and stuff like that. So you have like the perfect person to travel with when it comes to photography.
Yeah, but it's easy to spin him out when you put something else in his hands. Here, hold on to this Nikon and take a picture. Like, he holds it like it's his first time holding a baby. You know? What is this?
Hey, I'm curious real quick. Have all of us here had firsthand experience shooting film and developing it? I know he just mentioned being in the darkroom, and that's one of the coolest experiences, and I don't know how many of the people out there, have that firsthand and how cool that actually is.
Not for a lot of time, but yeah.
I'm old. Yes, I have.
In high school, I'd go in there, like the darkroom with that stupid bag, and pitch black.
Yeah, the bag.
My friends and I would just be cracking jokes, saying this teacher's a joke. Like, we're gonna hang out here for 40 minutes. But once you kind of figure it out with the process, with the fixer and all this, I'm so blown away by it.
Yeah, did you have the tongs and you would dip it into the solution? Oh yeah.
And then we would grab people's ear and like throw stuff. Yeah, that's the best.
It was in seventh grade. At my school, they had a photography class where the teacher was a dick. But
They usually are, yeah.
he had a dark room and everything, and I remember he wanted us to try and, for me, it was, he had a set way he wanted to see your art come to life, and it's like, my mind never went there. So I remember I got a parent-teacher conference because I took a picture of my ass, and that's what that was one of the first things I ever developed. So
that's so funny.
I can still smell the fixer and the developer.
Yeah.
I want to know what your folks said when they called you in and here's a picture of my ass.
Dude, I'll never forget when I thought it was like the coolest thing you could ever have happen is I had a black and white photo of a damn slinky that I took in my bedroom, and it made it into our school's newspaper. And I'm like, all right, I'm going places in life. Here we go.
It's a start.
And small accomplishments. That's all that matters. The small accomplishments.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, actually, this is kind of on topic, but Sanjay and I were laughing about, hey, we got to get Barry in here for this. And Barry, do you remember that day off in that day off in Canada where we all had our cameras and we took that insane Uber ride to the top of this mountain?
Yes.
And I was in the back seat, kind of just not shell shocked. I'm just cracking jokes. But Sanjay and Barry are literally horrified. Our Uber driver nearly killed a dog. We're going up this mountain. It was the most unreal. It was the most unbelievable. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was car sick for 2 hours after that damn.
Yep.
That's funny.
I thought we were going to kill him.
One of those pictures I turned in might be from that trip. I don't remember.
It is. That's why I started laughing. That was such a great day, too.
Oh,
Let's do that. Let's jump into some photos. So, Barry, let's start with yours. Give me a second to share my screen.
Sure.
Hold on 1 second here.
You're the right one.
Start with the naked one.
John?
Yeah, of course.
So, go ahead and tell us about it.
That was the hiking trip that John was just alluding to in Canada. We were just walking up the side of this hill, and there was a lot of, it was pretty rocky terrain. And again, I like nature stuff, so I saw this tree that had just this little green patch growing on the root ball. The tree had fallen over and it was dying. And so I was, at that time, this was done with, I think everyone I sent in was done with a Leica. I was still learning all the buttons, but I really wanted to focus on aperture. And that was the idea behind this, was getting such a crisp foreground with a really blown out background. So, again, I love nature and things growing kind of decay, but still pretty. And I find that stuff really pretty. So that's where this picture came from.
Yeah, it's a really nice depth of field and it really pulls your eye to that central point there. It looks really, really nice.
Thank you.
So let's jump to the second one. There we go. This is cool.
This was in November. This is when we were in Europe. What city was that? Where?
It's the cover to Sound of Madness, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Sound of Madness is crows, not seagulls. But
The next one.
what was that city we walked down that had the rivers, and we walked down to the Christmas markets, but they were quite a hike from the hotel. Was it Switzerland, maybe? Do you guys remember?
You're muted, John.
I'm trying to think.
We were Switzerland.
Yeah, so this was Switzerland. It was cold outside, not super cold. It was early winter, but it was cold enough to where I saw this paddleboarder, and I was like, "You're not getting me in this water." And they didn't have a wetsuit on, so I'm like, "God, if you fall off, that's going to really suck." And then I saw it was actually a really beautiful sunny day, but again, I like black and white, and to have the birds kind of just breaking the photo up, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and is
I think it's
that
cool.
the moon up there in the top left?
It was. It's winter in Europe. There's a perpetual moon, even in the middle of the day.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I'll tell
I
you,
really
for someone that's an amateur, it's goddamn good composition over there.
Thank you. The
And
rule
like
of third.
the silhouettes of the birds.
Reminds me of like Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Hey, did we lose Sanjay?
I'm there.
No, he's here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my screen shrank. Sorry.
Oh,
There we
damn
go.
it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I really like. I do like the black and white.
I
of
gotta work
this.
harder to
When
get
you-
rid of him.
When you shot this, did you decide when you shot this? Were you sort of thinking black and white, or was this something that after the fact, as you're experimenting, black and white just kind of is the thing?
This was after the fact because it was actually a really pretty sunset starting to happen in the background. But this picture, actually to the right of where the birds, there was a crane in the picture that ended up cropping out. But the crane was really distracting, and then I shrunk it down, and then I was just messing with my again, Lightroom, messing with the contrast. And when I tried to boost the clarity of the colors, that building right there just got really ugly, and you could start seeing signs on the side, and it just wasn't. It made the picture less interesting. So then I just kept it in black and white.
And that's we had a black and white episode a while back where we talk about sort of the benefits of black and white in some of those perspectives where the colors are just, it's a great shot, but the colors are just not cooperating at all. And when you go to black and white, it's just a whole different feeling and mood, and it's very classic and vintage and really adds to a shot.
And I know it's cliche, but Ansel Adams is still one of my favorites. I have one hanging in my bathroom, or a print, not a real Ansel Adams, because that'd be crazy. But I just love that style, that black and white, grainy, and that's kind of what always drew me to the Leicas as well, as they have a graininess to them. And I think that's cool about the different cameras out there, because the technology across the board is so good. I don't care what camera you get, it's going to be a nice camera. But each one of those brands has a thing, and they show out. Leica's grainy. The Fujis, their colors are cool and vibrant. Canon's got their thing, Nikon's got their thing. That's, I think, without developing film anymore, that's where the difference in the camera companies is.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Ansel Adams, and I didn't want to be cliche and bring it up, so I'm glad that you said it first. But yeah, I think that you're pretty spot on with that, man. That guy had an ability to take a scene and then just hold your attention for multiple minutes, and you scan through everything, and you feel like you're right there in person. So total respect to that, and I'm glad you brought it up as well.
Thanks.
All right, let's jump to the next one. So this is beautiful.
That's the one I like.
Yeah, this again was in Europe. This was in Lisbon, Portugal. And we had gone out all day long and took a bunch of pictures, and we actually were trying to find seafood because we knew Portugal, that area was really well known for their seafood. Ended up finding a good seafood restaurant. On the walk back, it was dark. The streets were really empty. It was kind of a weird feeling place. And this, out of all the pictures I took, there's one other one that kind of looks cool because we were up above and you could get all the rooftops, but it looked like something that might as well be in the AAA magazine or something. It was just very stock. But this alleyway just caught my mind, and we actually had gone the wrong way. We were trying to find our way back to the hotel, and we're like, do we want to climb these stairs? I don't really want to climb these stairs.
That's a phenomenal shot.
But the
I
picture
love that.
turned out cool, and to be honest, this one wasn't edited much at all. I brought up the yellows just a little bit, and that was it. It framed well, and the depth was there. I think up the yellows and up to the, I sharpened it a little bit to get the depth in the background with the stairs, and that was about it on this one.
I like
That's
the
awesome. I love street
clarity.
photography.
The clarity of the front and all the way to the back up the stairs is in focus, and just
Yeah,
that's what
very
makes it
good depth
pop.
of field. Yeah, definitely.
It's just
So
the
one of the
Go ahead.
I like-
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. So one of the coolest things about photography, and I think all the other guys can attest to this, is we've started to realize that all of us kind of have, and Steve Pouliot brought this up, kind of our signature style. And the very first thing I thought of when you pulled this picture up, for our group of photographers would be Glenn. Glenn is totally into this type of street photography, and I figured this would be right up his alley. Would you guys agree as well?
Yeah,
He's an
thank
icon
you, Eric.
guy.
I can relate to something like this for sure. Street photography is really right up my alley. Landscape as well, Barry. So I can really appreciate this because it tells a complete story, especially with all the telephone lines or whatever they are. And, you know, you just don't see that everywhere. And just for you to travel the world like this and capture these incredible shots, just like, whoa. I'm very
really-
envious. And
It brings
Very-
joy. It keeps me out of the bar a little bit longer.
there you go.
You know, it's funny.
That's
that you say
phenomenal.
that. I look at the top of that stairway. There's that one lone window right at the top. Yeah, right there.
I was wondering what that
Oh,
was.
it's like a TV light. What are those people watching on TV? What's going on in that window? And I'm drawn to that because I want to know what's going on in that little
There's a
spot. Right
boudoir shoot going on in there, Steve, I think.
Why you gotta go there? But I-
Note that you pointed out.
Sanjay's on the bed up there.
we lose Sanjay.
Oh, there he is. He's hiding on us.
Out of water.
Right?
Yeah, so this is a really cool shot. And before we move, when we're all done at the end of this episode, I just want to show you something I found today because of this shot. So I found it very bizarre, but not that not about this shot. Just a thing that I'll show you after.
Okay.
Uh-oh. We're in
Let's move to the
trouble
next
now.
one. So this is cool.
That's cool.
Okay. This was actually done here in Jacksonville, Florida, at a state park called Little Talbot Island. And my daughter, wife, and I went camping there, and we went on a nature trail hike. And this was probably February. So we're going down, and we ran into this oak tree hammock with all the moss, and it caught my eye. It looked like something out of a fairy tale, and it was just this one hammock, this one pocket that was so overgrown with this moss. And then you have the little palmetto bushes in the background or in the midground there. It just drew me out. You know, it doesn't look nearly as good in color. It really doesn't. There's so much green with the white moss that it wasn't that interesting. And then when you flipped it into black and white, it was like, oh, here's this, you know, fairy tale land. And that's in my backyard. You know, that's 30 minutes from my house. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I think with black and white, you can get some real depth to come out of it, sometimes
Yeah.
more than color. So I can agree with you on that, definitely.
Yeah, it just
Man.
created.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, man. Thank you for sharing this. I'm so sold on this Tales from the Pit thing now, man. This is the coolest shit ever. Like, literally,
Oh yeah,
how
welcome
many
back.
millions? No, seriously, I know.
Sentimental time, guys.
How
Get a
many
tissue.
how many fans of Shinedown are there? Like that don't know that the drummer is a goddamn amazing photographer.
But
Like this is
there's
the
only
coolest
5
shit
now.
ever. This is
That's
the coolest
awesome.
ever. My mind's just blowing, man. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Fairy tale's a good way to put it. That's definitely the right language to set on that. That's cool.
Now, Barry,
Yeah.
do you ever print any of these?
For personal, yeah, I have a couple around the house. I'm kind of, I don't have a lot of wall space, and so I don't really print any of these anymore. Like, you know, between pictures of dogs and kid, the walls are taken up, and then, you know, hanging guitars and drums. So I don't have a lot of wall space. There's one wall I've been thinking about doing that, but then again, it almost seems, for me personally, self-serving. I'm going to look up that and remember the story, but it's like, maybe I want to put something that somebody else did up there, their art, more than something I did. So I usually just keep them on a hard drive. You know, it's funny today when I was sending these over, I opened Lightroom and it had updated, and all my edits were gone.
Oh,
Oh,
And-
wow.
it was
I
like
know the feeling.
typical Adobe screwed me again. And so it took a good 2 hours. I was able to go into another hard drive and find these because I had, thank goodness, backed them up because everything that Sanjay went out, we were on the road, everything I did, all those edits, they're gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I lost a hard drive last year and went through the same exact thing.
Yep.
Welcome to Adobe.
So in regards to this shot, I think that just not that changing it to black and white gives it a whole different perspective, but it gives it like a nice softness to that moss. I think I mean, because sometimes you really want a real sharp, crisp shot, which you have plenty of, but that black and white just really softens that moss, so it really gives it a nice flow to it. I mean, it's
Kind of
really,
a
really cool.
mysterious look to it too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, in color, you look at this and go, that's all right.
Yeah.
Not special, but the black and white does something. Because it was, that time of year, things are obviously it's Florida, so it might be winter, but things are still green for the most part. And it just was washed with green. It wasn't cool. And then you flipped it and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. And you get to see a lot more the moss and for me, it's the contrast and the blacks in the actual trees themselves that bring it together.
Mm-hmm.
My inner nerd is going to look at this and hear the Ents from Lord of the Rings speak with this forest.
It's funny you say that. I'm doing an elf shoot like in a couple weeks, and I'm looking for a location exactly like this.
Come on, I can show you exactly where it is. Come on down.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'm not carrying your gear.
Funny, this was probably 20 minutes into the hike. It wasn't that far from the campground.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I wouldn't camp anywhere near there.
Speaking of prints real quick, do you or any other members of the band, do you guys have any concert prints that you guys, because I know like at our venue, as you walk up, there's, you kind of have prints from each of the shows, but is that something that you guys are ever into? Do you have any of that in your own personal collection?
Some. We've been gifted some over the years of cool shots and some that, guys like yourselves have given us. And I always hold on to everything that's been given to me, whether it's, a concert, a venue gift, like a cool shot, or, even a fan that's given us a cool gift. I have a storage unit full of neat gifts that I'd feel horrible throwing away, even though it's maybe not something I keep in my home.
Yeah.
If there's a cool shot, and a lot of times you guys know this, it's very rare that you get a good shot of the drummer or any of the musicians that are on the back side of the stage. It's just hard, especially if they're keeping you right there in the pit. Mm-hmm. The lighting's just not cool for that. So I'd say the other three members of Shinedown who can get to that front edge of the stage have a lot more shots of themselves than maybe myself, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Nice.
While he's finding that, Barry, do you have any interest in a third eye blind print?
Sure. You trying to sell your prints to our guests?
This is not what this is all about.
I'm an entrepreneur at heart, okay?
That is a complete left field band I wouldn't think you pull. Sure. I mean,
but this one right here is one I have an extra one of. So if you want it, I can send it out to you.
Only $10.99.
No, it's
shipping and handling.
it's a 16 by 20 print, so it's pretty good size.
Assuming that he likes them, I'm assuming. He just randomly asked to buy prints from other bands.
If you have a Spin Doctors poster, Barry will probably take it off your hands.
Doctors have in a little bit. They have a fantastic drummer.
Sorry. On a complete side note, ironically, right, an hour before we started this meeting, I got a text on my phone from Shinedown saying 40% off masks, 40% off Shinedown masks. You guys must get a lot of bootleg things going on and all that crazy stuff all the time.
I can't tell you how many bootleg things are out there. Just for you fans out there, I don't believe we're making masks, just so you know.
Eric just made $20 on a couple of prints.
Oh, John, get on.
The third eye blind mask.
All right, let's jump into John. Let's do John's next. You want to just go right in order, John?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, so let me open this full screen here real quick. All right, John. So we got a beautiful landscape. Go ahead and tell us about this one.
So I really don't vacation a lot. And so obviously with COVID, we're kind of, now I've had a lot of free time. So my grandparents have a dairy farm up in western New York, like the southern tier part. And so every time, ever since I'm a little kid, once I had my cell phone, I've always been taking pictures of the cows and barns and stuff. But now as I've gotten older, as people get older and people pass away, you kind of feel more connected towards where you are. At least I do. And so this was actually 2 weeks ago. My first day there, after 6 hours of drive, I get there. I take like a 3-mile lap just to walk all dirt roads around all the farms and the area. And this is one of the white church on top of the hill, up top from the family farm. And it's one of those things where me and my cousins are always laughing at, like, hey, meet you at the church, or if we're playing tag or manhunt as kids, that would always be the home base. And so kind of walking down to the farm hill that night, I turned around and saw that. And we had a storm roll through like 2 hours before. And so the sky just was just awesome.
What was it?
I love the Fuji 100X series.
Okay, nice. So tell me what you're editing. Tell me about the colors in this.
I use Lightroom.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff scares me because I don't have like I know with my head when I have a certain like look I like, but for me, I do definitely like the sky if I can pull off colors. But I also don't. I think Barry talked about, like, I don't want to mess with like the contrast too much where it gets weird, or if the shot's cool and I can live with it. If I can post a shot by itself without even editing or even cleaning somebody up, I'm happy with it. So a shot like this, I'm totally happy with it. Because for me, it might look cool to some people, but deep down for me, I know what it means to me, and that's really all I care about. I don't shoot for others.
There you go.
It's got that Crossroads vibe, you know?
Well, it's funny because obviously Children of Corn growing up with all the corn
Yeah,
everywhere.
right.
Like, we would always do like stupid like corn tag or just, I mean, it gets bizarre, but you know what I'm saying.
But I do like your color grading on this. I like the tones you use, or enhance, I should say.
It's weird because when you get up there, all the barns are red, or the silos are like that silver color. But this one white church that's literally up top, higher than every other farm that goes down the valleys. It's just kind of a cool kind of a look to it.
I kind of like looking at presets too, because you don't have to actually do too much to it. If
Right.
you like the preset, you got it. Boom. It's there.
Right.
That's a really cool shot, John.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
All right, let's jump to the next one.
Third Eye Blind was actually rehearsing in there.
Nice.
So this is about a mile and a half. This is about a mile and a half from. They were doing an acoustic set, live choir. So this is about a mile and a half from the family farm. We had to ride like a mule, like ATV type thing to get there. But this is called Woodchuck Hollow. And when I was little, you see kind of all the stumps in there. Those were all dead trees when I was. This is back in like 85, 90 when I was a little kid. And so you'd always have like the hawks there, these crazy cranes, birds. Well, as the time has passed, everything's kind of died out and fallen into the water. And so we're just literally going down there for literally just take pictures, me and my sister and a husband. And it was just, again, the storm had just rolled out. And it was the first time I've seen this with really no trees kind of blocking the reflection. And I kind of like reflection photography too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. And again, I like your color palette that you have going on here too. Is that like fog in the back, or is this just sort of ripples?
Yeah, there was a fog. I don't know what creates fog. I think it's the cold air meets the hot, whatever that situation was. It was happening, but I don't know if that was because again, a storm had just rolled out, so there wasn't like any. Well, maybe it could have been a fire.
Yeah.
Did you edit the colors in this that much, or was that the colors of the scene?
I kind of edited like the green because I wanted to see if I could play with the reflection in the water. But like all the stuff in the front, the clouds, I hadn't touched anything.
That's
See,
good.
this is that thing. Fuji's got a color scheme to it that's different, and it's cool.
That's why I'm glad. I'm glad Sanjay told me, because I'm just like, obviously I've heard Nikon and Canon and the disposable cameras that Sanjay uses, but this, it's just cool. Like I love that you can use this camera and just not have to worry about it break in. There's nothing crazy I have to do with it, and it's perfect for what I like shooting. So,
the colors really stand out. I really like the color palette. This is for me. This is one of those spots where having a drone as well, because flying over this and taking drone shots.
My sisters and family getting to know Sanjay through the Shinedown camp. Every time we're like in some crazy setting where it's like, okay, you got 30D over here, you got a hawk above, the sunset, the cord. We're like, oh, I wish Sanjay was here with whatever contraption he could throw out of his road case. So, I mean, because with Sanjay, a lot of our days off, like we did that hike with Eric at the Alaska Glacier, and just that drone footage, it's just cool having someone like Sanjay around. Now with Barry, our days off are literally just, okay, where can we hike? Where can we go get lost and bring our cameras out? That's awesome.
Are you guys planning that ahead of the time? So if you know, like, you're going to be at this spot, in a couple months, are you guys sort of planning that
Yeah, we'll kind of. It's funny for Alaska. Eric doesn't usually go out. Obviously, Sanjay can attest to this. He's very likes to stay in his room and just focus or whatever. Watch his Joe Rogan podcast. So when I got a text that morning in Alaska, it was like super early, and I thought something was wrong because I have certain texts for each band guy, and so I never hear Eric really text like that time of day. I'm like, oh god, caribou attack. But he's like, hey, I found this glacier. I really want to do this. It'd be cool for pictures. I was sold right there. And so Eric has that kind of a cool way of, if he has somebody who wants to hike and see and take pictures, I'm all for it. But me, Barry, and Sanjay, if we're going nowhere if the day off is, or it's been somewhere where we've been before, it's one of those things where, hey, let's go there. Let's get the Uber. We'll have breakfast, wake up off the bus, head there for a couple hours, and come back and grab dinner. It's definitely, I mean, the European stuff is awesome. Like, Barry, where was that church we went to where they're the crazy in Spain?
Yeah, that was in Barcelona, the Grada Familia.
Right. And so that's another one of those things where we all got together, except Brent, and we're just kind of blown away, but we're all taking pictures. And it's just kind of cool. As much as Zach isn't like a photographer per se, but for something cool visually, like he gets right into it, laying on the ground, taking cool angles. So it's cool.
When you come to New Hampshire, we got 5 photographers here and you get tour guides. It's only $300 a person, so just hit us up and we'll be happy to show you around.
You'll get a free Third Eye Blind poster too.
Right.
Discounted. Sanjay, so what do you fly?
I have the Mavic Pro Platinum, whatever that one is, and then I have a Phantom 4.
Yeah, I have the Phantom 4 and the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah.
Love those things.
Yeah.
I like the new one that they just came out with. That it's like the size of your hand, like the little mini. So I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
I just flew one today. It's great.
Is it?
Yeah, I do construction photography too, and I did a job site. And you just hold it up, you throw it up, it goes 30 minutes, and
That's what I'm getting.
20-mile-an-hour winds, and it didn't even move. So
See, I got to check that out because just the size factor of it's great.
yeah,
I used to do a bunch of real estate here in Arizona, so it's like I had to get familiar with drones really quick.
Yeah.
yeah, $500. You can. It comes with a cage. You can fly it in your house and ram it into a wall, and it won't hurt anything.
I won't use the cage. I'll still fly in the house. Though.
Yeah.
Backstage at that Montana show, Sanjay, remember when we were trying to get you get that your whatever hovercraft up like over the mountain across?
Oh yeah, we were
that
trying to
was
get
so insane.
Yeah, that's when you flew right in front of my face too. That scared the hell out of me.
Hey, I've got a quick question for you guys. Have either of you either thought of or actually used any of your photographs in any album covers or album art in the pamphlets or anything like that?
No. Sanjay has with he actually did one of our last major photo shoots for a lot of music for 8x10s and things like that. So Sanjay has there's a weird thing in Shinedown, and it really comes from Brent. It has to be his idea, or at least he has to feel like it was his idea. And this is not throwing him under the bus, it's the way his brain works. So he likes outside sources when it comes to album art or album concept for the artwork for an album. He wants an outside source, and it's kind of cool that way because you do need to not always compartmentalize everything with the four of us, because you can commit career suicide by not having enough outside perspective going. Are you sure about that? So when it comes to albums and album artwork and artwork for Shinedown, it's usually an outside source looking in at us, and we can give ideas and go, you know, we're thinking maybe this, like even with the last record, Attention with the exclamation point, that was very visually stunning, but we were thinking the whole concept was you don't look at album covers anymore. You see them as a thumbnail on the computer. If you have this beautiful scene like is in front of us right now, all it's going to do is look like a green and blue splotch when you look at it on your computer when you're going through iTunes. So we want
Brent. I'm sorry. With Brent's ideas, that must help you out, Sanjay, to get more creative as you giving these, you know.
Yeah, that last
ideas.
photo shoot we did, I mean, everyone threw in their 2 cents, and we all kind of worked together, and we
That's
got
cool.
really good shots.
Do you miss it? So I remember, and I'm a little bit younger too, but I remember vividly opening CD cases because you like to just look at the imagery in the little books there. Do you guys miss that? Do you guys miss that kind of, I guess, that tactile feeling that you had from CDs?
Artistic expression.
John, you're muted.
Hey, so my first CD I bought was Tragic Kingdom, no doubt. And when I opened up the album cover, I remember the pictures that are so vivid and so different. And I do kind of miss that physicality of like just crazy art.
Yeah, I'm a little older than both Sanjay and John, so I still remember vinyl, and you get the big vinyl, and I still have my vinyl collection here behind me, or at least the ones that I care about way over here. You can see some of them, but
Three-Eyed Blood?
I would sit there with that album and just study it as you had to listen through the whole thing. Instead of just picking your favorite songs, you listen through the whole thing and go, wow, that was a journey and an experience. And I absolutely miss it.
Do you guys think you'll ever
track tapes?
Yeah, do you think you'll ever record on vinyl again?
We release a vinyl for every record.
No kidding.
Yep, and I think there may be something special coming up around Christmas this year as some sort of a boxed set kind of thing.
Intent.
Spot right on. No, that's cool.
Grabs
That's
anything
cool.
on vinyl.
So that
Yeah, what's cool about vinyl nowadays, not only you're going to find it at Urban Outfitters or whatever, and all the cool kids are listening to it, but it's the only physical medium of music that's still going up in sales, whereas CDs are gone and obviously tapes are gone. Vinyl still is kind of holding its value and still growing again in a weird way. So, for those of you that have listened to vinyl and grew up on it, it just sounds different. It sounds, to me, warmer and better, and I enjoy listening to an album on vinyl.
I'm sticking with 8-track.
Go
Coming
for it.
back.
Laserdisc.
Yeah, my 8-tracks melted in my car one summer, and that was the end of it.
Yep.
So let's go back to sort of playing off of Eric's question about videos and stuff like that you guys do. You guys literally just put out, and I know Sanjay was working on this for a long time, the London show on YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. So Sanjay, can you kind of give us a little background of how that came about? How much work did you have to do? What was involved?
That's why he's got a hat on. He pulled all his hair out.
Yeah. That came up when we were actually over in Europe. Brent and I were talking, and he kind of had the notion of, let's try and get a multi-camera shoot for this show. And we kind of planned it out a little bit, and then it dipped to where we weren't going to do it. And I remember talking to you, Barry. It was one of those things I was like, I don't even know if we're going to do this. Like, it might not even be a thing. And
yeah, because everybody had got sick. Everybody was getting over their colds and everything. So it kind of just became a non-issue. We were just trying to suffer and get through the shows at that point. And then it was very much a fire for you.
Then it was 12 hours before the show. We found out there was going to be some people there with some cameras that we were able to talk to once we got to the venue. So basically that entire show was planned from when we stepped foot at the venue. It was like a whirlwind of crazy trying to get it all planned out, get the shots, get the people set. I remember we had to send some runners out for some extra cards just so we had enough space to capture everything for the amount of cameras that we had going.
And we had to beg the venue because it's London. It's like playing in New York. They've got their own version of unions and everything else. And they're like, what? You want to do what with this?
And it just became a thing. And I had all the footage and started editing in February. I'm sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but was the idea to put this out pre-COVID?
Yes, but not. It's kind of hard to say because we're all talking on how we're gonna put it out and where it was gonna go and who was gonna, if anyone was gonna take rights to it, as in like Live Nation release it or YouTube release it, or by the end of it, like it first started as just a show and then it turned into this whole thing that it was behind the scenes stuff and the photos and this and that and everything that came together with it. Like it came together as a full show DVD almost, and it just was decided, just put it out on YouTube, give it to everyone.
You did all the editing yourself?
Yeah, I did everything on that.
And I have to say, I believe the clip of Eric riding the chair up the stairs is our venue.
Yes, it is.
I knew it. I thought so. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, first of all, you did an excellent job. As soon as I came out, I watched it from start to end. Watching John take the cake in the face and all the other stuff going on. So I thought you did an awesome job on that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was fun to put together, but I'm glad it's out and people can enjoy it now. The awesome dudes doing what they do.
Cool. All right. Well, let's continue on with John's shots here. So we have John. Tell us about this one.
That's cool.
This was in my grandparents' barn at the top of the hill. As a kid, this would always be filled with hay, but once they retired, kind of became like a storage place for tractors or whatever. And so again, childhood, we're always up there running around, making hay forts and just climbing ladders and jumping around. And so you go up there now, and whatever it was, this was early morning because I had coffee, and the sun was just kind of coming up on that side of the barn, and it was coming through the slats of the barn. I'm like, this is such a cool kind of shot. And so I took it. And the only really thing I kind of edited, I kind of played around with some of the light coming through the boards, but I didn't want to do too much because, again, for me, at that moment, I knew I would never be there again, and so I wanted to capture what I was feeling. And every time I look at that, I kind of have that same kind of feeling.
That's the beauty of that shot. You probably went into that barn or whatever it is.
Millions of times.
Looking for something, right? And then this all of a sudden just pops up and say, that is cool.
Right. Because
That's
my grandfather actually had passed away a year ago around then. And so it has that kind of like closure per se, but more of like this is kind of a cool he would dig this.
No doubt.
It's a very spiritual shot with the way it tells you a spiritual, sort of story around it. It's beautiful.
Yep. No, I liked it.
It definitely. How many pentagrams do you have painted on the floor, John?
What's that?
How many pentagrams do you have painted on the floor?
Dude.
I have 2 Ouija boards, a pile of wax, and the new Third Eye Blind vinyl.
Nothing says Satan more than that.
I had something I was going to add, but I'm going to shut up.
No, don't hold back. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I'm good. He ended it, so it's good.
I love the light coming through. I love the bluish tint of the light. It just has a very magical spiritual feel to it.
I like the grain of the wood. It's good.
Yeah.
That's an old part.
All right,
Hey,
you went
a
there
good
now,
shot.
so I'm gonna add to it. It reminds me of my in-laws' maple sugar house. It's the same type of textures and lighting coming in the whole bit. So,
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Sentimental moment.
Yeah. All
That
right.
is nice.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh,
Speaking
here we
of
go.
spiritual, here we go.
That is awesome.
And so this was on day or night 2. My uncle and I was walking after dinner. And again, everything's dirt roads. So if you want to walk after wherever, you could literally walk miles and come back. And so we had just coming on the way back down to their cabin. And I turned around and I saw, like, holy crap. Well, first I saw the rabbit, it was like the cloud. And I initially took the picture.
Yeah.
I took the picture for my sister whose rabbit died a couple of years ago. It was like Frank the rabbit. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, it looks like a rabbit. I'll show her. Like, we'll have a laugh. I'll make some stupid sick comment. But as when I got back to the cabin, I'm looking at it like, man, that's a really cool kind of, I like the sunset, like when it's hiding behind the clouds. But it's so, like, it's so awesome up there. Like, very rarely do cell phones work. No cars, no noise, just tractors and wildlife. Like, it's just awesome.
Again, I like the colors that are coming out of that camera.
That's a Fuji color right there.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
and
dude,
good.
that's a freaking great shot, man. I could literally picture that being a Third Eye Blind album cover.
Yeah. I'm actually selling this as a poster if you want one.
An extra. And I saw the rabbit right away, John. Just so you know.
Yeah, I was looking at it like, oh, cool. Like that. It's weird how like sometimes visually I'll see something, and I'll take the picture like, oh, I'll look at it later. Or when I look at the picture again, I don't see what I initially saw.
Yeah.
And so for here, it was kind of the reverse of that. And I was kind of, this actually is kind of cool.
That's a cool
It's
shot.
awesome. It's awesome. All right, so let's dive into Sanjay. So let me. I guess you want to start with this one, or you want to start with a different one?
We can start with that one. That was obviously that was in Canada. That was that day off that we were talking about before. We just ended up. That was the crazy Uber driver going all the way up to the top. Well, it wasn't up to the top. Probably like a third of the way up, and we hiked up the rest. And that's where Barry started to take a lot of really cool photos of nature. And same with John. Like that was just a cool day to see how each person did nature photography. And we got to the top, and I mean that's us on a day off. That's the that's what we do. We have fun.
What year is this?
Last year.
Last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was a great day, man. That's when I think all of us, we got some incredible shots. The one that Barry shared of the tree and the moss, that was there. On the last episode I did with you guys too, a lot of the photos that you shared were from that.
That view is amazing.
I don't remember the city though. Do you guys?
Penticton?
Yeah, it's Penticton because I have the Manitoba Moose sweatshirt on the day before.
Okay. Yeah,
Is that a Fuji camera as well?
This is on an iPhone.
Oh, is it? Kidding.
Lightroom.
Who took it? The Uber driver?
No, thank God. Just a couple that was up there.
Yeah.
But
Third
I
Eye
just
Blind.
one because this is a good representation of a day off of the three of us when we go out and just have fun together.
How often do you guys get days off? Is it once a week, twice a week?
Twice a week. We usually do 3 shows day off, 2 shows day off.
Yep.
Is the usual.
And is it every day off? Is it let's go out, or is it sometimes you just got to do other stuff?
It's either
depends on the person. Depends on the person. I go out every single day off because I can't stand staring at the 4 walls of a hotel room. It drives me crazy. So
Sure.
whether it's just going to go find some good food or we're going to go on an adventure, I'm going to get into the hotel room. I mean, I'm physically tired, so usually I'm pretty slow to get moving on a day off. So I'll get out by lunchtime and then go get some lunch and go visit whatever city we're in, as long as there's something to visit. But, a lot of times, days off, say we play New Hampshire and then we got to play Wisconsin on the next day, we drive to that next city. So you might not get in until mid-afternoon because you got a long drive, and then you just spend the rest of that day doing whatever you can, getting ready for the next show day.
Yep.
Gotcha.
There's always that text, lobby 15.
Yep.
Not to digress too far on the little semantics of a tour, but you drive from show to show. You guys don't fly.
No, the airports are just chaos, and we lease those buses so you can sleep overnight on the bus. I sleep better on a bus than I do anywhere, including my own home.
Somebody else just said that to us.
Mm-hmm.
You look comfortable too.
Yeah, I know you're always watching me. You're right there.
I'm underneath you.
Yeah, Shelby was.
That's for another show. That's part 3.
Shelby was on last week, and he was saying the bus is probably the best sleep he gets all year round.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Shelby was on last week, Pop Evil tour manager, and he said that the bus was the best sleep he gets anywhere.
100%. There's something about the diesel engine noise, and if you have a good driver, just that little rock.
Yeah,
but
he said the humming and everything.
Or tag a caribou and wakes you up. So
That cold temperature at Bunk Alley at night. Oh, stop it.
All right, let's go to the next one. Ah, nice.
Yes, Copenhagen.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Megan, this was one of the coolest Christmas markets I think we went to. This was Tivoli. Tivoli?
Yep.
And I remember John and I walked down there during the day, and we checked it out, and I swear to God, there was one of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life.
Oh, the grilled cheese.
It was this grilled cheese ham sandwich, and I don't know what they did to it, but I remember going back to the hotel, and Barry came out with us at night to go back, and I was like, B, you are going to have the greatest sandwich of your life. And this Christmas market this is the perfect example of what it is in Europe. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. And we took a photo with Santa. I mean, you walk around, they have rides. It's just
fake snow, real snow. Barry bought a quilt there, a jacket, right? Some caribou skin or whatever.
It wasn't caribou skin, but yeah, I bought a knit jacket.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just, again, going off to the three of us on days off, like this is the kind of stuff and this are the kind of places that we get to see together, and it's amazing.
And if you look at that left-hand side, Vapiano, it's a chain pizza joint that has really good pizza if you're ever overseas.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I like the fisheye. What was this? What lens was this?
This was my Sigma 14.
It is good fisheye.
Yeah, I like it.
Everyone loves fisheye.
All right,
Yeah,
let's go
this was
on.
on the Sigma 14 1.4. So was this one. This was
This is
when
beautiful.
I went up to Disneyland a year back or 2 years back. And
Love the colors.
that was
Yeah,
just
the reflections are awesome. That's
Yeah.
really good.
that was like a 10-second long exposure.
I was about to say, how did you get that? So you had to have used a tripod, huh?
No, if you look at the bottom here, at the very bottom of the screen, you can see I just literally put my camera down on the ledge there.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned to do. And when I'm not wanting to take a tripod with me, it's like you just find the perfect little spots to just set your camera. And I remember this, I used a cigarette pack to place under the bottom of my lens at the front, just so it angled it up properly so you can kind of get everything instead of just seeing the concrete.
Beautiful. I was gonna say that's a damn fast Ferris wheel.
That's great.
What editing did you do? Any color correction or anything like that?
This, I brought up the highlights, brought down some of the shadows, and boosted the vibrancy. And that was really it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, Disneyland's so vibrant as it is, you don't have to do much there.
Yeah.
I've never been.
That's unfortunate.
I like it.
Hint, hint.
I hate
Something
Disney.
there's an inside story there or something.
Well, next time you're up here, we'll have to take you in Third Eye Blind to Disneyland.
I'm into it. We can do some online shopping with Wayfair too.
The closest thing we have to Disneyland is Santa's Village.
Canterbury
Take you to
Lake.
Santa's Village next time you're up.
I've done that before.
Storyland is
actually.
closer.
Oh, Storyland, right.
Storyland is closer, yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. All right, let's jump to the next one. That's cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
It was
that's
actually,
Canada too.
yeah, this was where the guys did a meet and greet. It was an old,
I forgot about that.
yeah, remember that? It was an old bank that they did a meet and greet in that was part of the venue. And this was the inside lock of the vault. So I had my 100mm macro, and I just kept taking different shots till I got the one that I liked. And I mean, you can read it on there. This was made in 1892. That lock was made.
That's beautiful. I love the color, sort of the bleach colorish style to it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was such a cool. I was scared someone was going to get locked in it though.
So the venue was a bank?
The part, like the back of the venue was, right?
Yes.
It
Yeah,
had, like,
I mean, it wasn't a
NHCONCERTPHOTOGS.
bank anymore.
Ours is too, Bank of New Hampshire. I mean,
Ah, look at you. Hey, throwing out the reference.
Can you give us a drum roll, Barry? Thanks. Hey, this is a beautiful shot.
Thank you.
Like it.
I love the colors in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
This
the
one
reflection's awesome.
5-10 minutes from my house. This is the water tower in downtown Gilbert. And with all this COVID shit and staying home, I was going crazy. Like I wanted to go out and do something. So my buddy and I, we just went, I think this was Saturday night, 10 o'clock at night or something. We just went out, parked, and went walking downtown and just did some street photography. And we were walking back actually to the car, and I remember walking by the reflection, and I was like, that's the photo that I want. So I remember I dropped down, and my camera was almost sitting in the water to get it, just the angle of it, but it turned out pretty much exactly how I saw it walking by. And then I couldn't figure out how to work the colors that I was getting in the original, because it was very purple, and I don't like a lot of purple in night shots at all. So this took me probably an hour to edit, to where I saved this preset now as one of my own personal like night presets. To where it eliminated a lot of the night purple, and it gives that warm orange feel with like the washed out look, but also the true blacks.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's cool.
That color is that's a really, really eye-pleasing color. I like that.
It reminds me of the water tower in Kindergarten Cop.
It's not a tumor. Do you find that you get into a mode where everything is portrait or everything is landscape mode?
No, I mean, for stuff like this, I don't know. It all depends. Sometimes I'll take a landscape shot and I'll crop it because I like the perspective more.
Yeah.
For me personally, I just kind of go with what I see. And if it's like, oh, cool, I want to look down like this one. It's like you want to focus visually going back with the depth of field. I'm going to shoot it like this.
Yeah, no, this is brilliant because you got some bokeh over here, but yet you reach all the way down underneath all those awnings, and it's really cool.
And is this the same color?
Same night, same city.
Same preset?
Same preset. And that's what I wanted to make it for. I wanted to figure out if it's going to be able to be applied to multiple night shots like this, and it worked out.
So these presets that you've been making, so you're going to have a whole catalog of presets to be trying out once touring starts again, huh?
Yes.
So we're going to see the 2021 Sanjay preset catalog coming.
Yeah, I've been actually working on a lot of black and whites and like night presets, and I want to start putting together like a full real pack of great presets that people can use.
Nice.
Giving them wacky names or just...
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I will. This one's called Night 2, I think.
Call it Jumper.
Third Eye Blind presets.
Oh my god.
Again, another Christmas market. Just wanted to show kind of what
This is Glasgow.
Yep.
Oh.
That's when we bought the suit.
Yep.
You guys bought your tweed suits.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And that's Mr. Ricky Bobby, Barry's drum tech.
Oh, cool. All right.
Hey, I just wanted to quickly say real quick while he's looking for that, sincerely appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of do this with us. It's really cool to see this perspective, of this industry that we love, and we love what we do. But to see from you guys' end and what you experience, it's been really eye-opening and a hell of a lot of fun. So thank you very much for taking your time out of your night to do this with us.
Absolutely.
It's a nice break. It's fun from my perspective, to talk. Obviously, you got to talk a little bit about Shinedown because that's what brought this here. But to talk about something outside of just shows and where are you from kind of stuff is pretty cool. That being said, while we're waiting on the photo, I had a question for all of you. When you go to take photos of a show, aside from having to elbow other people out of your way when you're trying to get a shot, what could bands do better for you guys as far as visually? What is something that you're like, and if one band would just do this, we'd be able to get great shots?
Invite us on stage.
No, fix the lighting.
Get rid of the red lights.
The lighting for the first 3 songs.
So it really depends. For us, it's every act has a different set of rules, and it's really going to be the tour manager that sets the rules for us. The venue is going to whatever the tour manager says is whatever the venue is going to say. All right, this is the rules for that night.
Yeah.
For us, it's really about where we have access. I'd say probably 60 to 75% of the time, the access is only from front of the house from soundboard. You guys, Alice Cooper, a few other shows give us, sort of pit access, and that allows us to get a lot more creative and have a lot more, variations in our shots. So I think access is probably sort of the first thing, and then the second thing is I know a lot of bands, maybe it's unspoken or maybe it's just coincidental. They have maybe poor lighting for the first 3 songs because those are the songs we are allowed to shoot. And again, I get it. I absolutely understand that this is their brand and they need their brand to be on par to what the fans expect. So I absolutely get that. Those are the 2 major things for us. But it's really it's really hit or miss per band. You guys always give us the best. Unfortunately, my experience, the last time you guys played, I was not allowed to shoot from the barricade because someone misunderstood. But the other photographer I was with was shooting from the barricade the whole time.
God damn it.
At the end of the 3 songs, I'm like, dude, how'd you get in there? He goes, why weren't you in there? I go, I was told I can't. He goes, no one told me. So it was just a miscommunication on our side, not on your side. So I was bummed on that. I was so looking forward to that night. But
and now that we know you guys, right?
Yeah.
I do find that a lot of bands will come to us and talk about how they don't want that up the nose shot.
That's awesome.
Where, a different photographer was right up underneath the lead guy, the lead guitarist, or the bass player that's out front, and they're right up, shooting up into their nose. And you talked about it before, Barry, where you mentioned that you have a bad expression, or just a kind of a non-photogenic look on your face. And I think the bands are trying to help control their own image, and they do that by giving us less access to get that really great shot that we know that we can get because the guy in the last venue screwed it up because he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, we run across that, and I think we're lucky in that we have a tour photographer who can kind of vet people ahead of time, and also John, who can vet people ahead of time to go, okay, this person kind of knows what they're doing with the camera, or this person just showed up and got the pit pass from their buddy and has their point and shoot with the flash on and the auto set. Those times can be frustrating. And look, man, it's true. All of us band members, we're a bunch of narcissists and we always want to look good out there, So,
and you should. It's your look,
There's your brand,
and
yeah.
and your set that you guys create with all the lights and pyro and all that shit. That's your image. That's your brand that you've put out there. And to have some knucklehead photographer put out a shitty photo because he thought it looked good and it doesn't represent you guys in a good light, I think that's the wrong way for us to go about it, doing it as professionals.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to since everybody has a camera in their pocket nowadays, we've gotten to the point now where, like I said earlier, we just make fun of it internally. We just send the pictures to each other and laugh at each other. There's been times where who was it? Son, couple, but we take photos, and the face is so bad or the picture's so hilarious that we'll have them photoshopped into a different scene or into something, secretly tape it on each other's wardrobe cases or whatever else. There's one of Brent where he's got his leg up and he's singing, and it looks like he's in that Irish dance group, so Michael Flatley or whatever. So they ended up superimposing him in a line of Irish dancers because that's what he looks like. It's awesome. Hilarious. And there's no holds barred. There's one of Eric turned into a garbage pail kid because he looked like he was thrown up because the picture was taken when his mouth is wide open screaming. So now he's a garbage pail kid forever on a wardrobe case.
So you're taking concert photography to a whole different level. With now we're hoping that we can make Garbage Pail Kids Shinedown.
Let's do it. You can't laugh at yourself. There's no point.
Right.
Ryan Roxy said the other night he didn't want guitar face.
Oh yeah, guitar face. Yeah.
Guitar face.
Yeah. And we get artists who are sort of they had their peak, say 80s, 90s, whatever. They had their peak several years ago, and they're still touring, but their look has changed. So we have artists that are very, very cautious about what photos are, approvals and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast.
If I can add to that, Jason, there's some very current country bands that are very strict with what they review, and if there's any kind of, there was one particular band where if there was anything in the front that distracted your eye from the lead people in the band, the photo wasn't allowed to be put online.
Wow.
So any kind of crowd hands up in the air, right, where there was any kind of foreground depth, no, that didn't get allowed.
The wide variety of artists, and they have specific needs.
This is what their brand is, and hey, whatever, that's their brand. So you want to shoot them, going in, these are their rules.
Yeah, and as a photographer, I'm okay with that. I have no opinion or no anything. I'm just happy to be doing what I'm doing.
I agree.
All right.
I think one of the. Oh, sorry. I was going to say it real quick. I think one of the nicest things, really, about this is that we're kind of able to start bridging a gap between the performer and the art of that, and then also what us as concert photographers. I think at the end of the day, we're all like, you guys want to look good and badass, and as photographers, we also want to put out an image that we think that other people will think looks good. Like, we always want to put our best work too. And I think Steve touched upon a point, and you did too, that some people just get a pass just for the cool part about having a pass and not for the artistic element of what you can capture. So I think there's a lot of people out there, the overwhelming majority of photographers, that really do want to make you guys look as best as you possibly can. And then there are some bad apples in the bunch as well.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that goes with anything you do. There's always going to be a couple bad apples. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Sanjay, take us through this beautiful, beautiful shot of your daughter.
One of the hardest things to shoot are babies and animals. So this shot for me was it was the one, because I was doing family portraits, and we were talking about some people hate doing portraits and some people love it, and I'm kind of neutral to it both. But when I have my own daughter to be the subject, it's I'll sit and try and get as many shots as possible till I get the one. But this one, 2 lights on her, 1 overhead, 1 fill in the front, and she just happened to be happy, and she sat. And that was on a 35.
She looks happy.
She's always happy, kind of.
I'm just glad she's like wife.
It's a great shot.
Yeah, me too.
I wish
Wait
I
till
had
she
one
turns
like that on my
16.
daughter.
She's not going to have that look.
Oh, she'll hate me.
She's probably wondering if she has to sign a photo release.
Yeah, exactly.
You're beyond the 3rd song, Dad. What are you still?
Yeah. Get the hell out of the pit, Dad.
So this is so crisp and so sharp on the eyes, and like you said, an infant is extremely difficult to shoot with constant movements, and get them to even look at you is almost impossible. So this in itself is an amazing shot.
Thank you. It's just, I wanted to share this one just because it's something that you don't capture all the time.
Because your daughter is beautiful and you're a good dad.
We have one photographer here that does kids bop. That would be hemp. That's why he's being quiet tonight. There's a lot of restraining orders against him.
Yes, I can't talk about them.
Christ, I can't believe you said that.
But that
was a joke, everybody. Please, don't take it seriously.
What was your editing process for this?
This wasn't much at all because of the 2 lights, the overhead that I was using. This was basically almost off a camera. I just put a small vignette on it and boosted up the vibrancy, because I shoot very flat on my Canon, and pretty much anything I shoot, I always push everything down, so that way in post I can really control it.
What do you mean shoot flat?
Go into the settings and put everything where you can do your photo settings. I'll go to neutral and then bump it down even more. So there's not a lot of, it's almost like when you're shooting raw in film where it's just almost a gray wash. And that way, when you process your photo, you can get the true skin tone, you can get the true colors, and then manipulate it how you want it. But
so most cameras have, I think by default, they're set to, I think it's normal, but they also have an oversaturated level. They have
They have a cloudy.
A bunch of different variations. I think you mentioned Black Magic last time for video. They shoot in a very, raw. I mean, very. What do you call it? Yeah, and you basically you do all your color editing and color grading post, and you have a lot more control over those minute details.
Exactly, like her eyes, when you zoom into it really close on like the high res, it's so crisp. Like you can see Reese, my fiance, sitting behind us through the reflection. It's like stuff like that you want to pull out, and just like in the eyes in the upper left-hand corner, like that's the light reflection. So you kind of make that pop, so it gives it that glossy look. So just little things like that for portraits, at least. That's what I've been practicing a lot on her, Reese, some friends of mine. Like I have stuff set up here now just to really get down portraiture.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. So when it comes to being on the road and seeing all these different venues and being in all these different areas, is there, I know our venue in New Hampshire is one of the more popular ones for artists, because of the amenities and because of the surroundings and stuff like that. But what other places, and ours if you want, do you like? So when you see the tour list coming up for next summer or next year, is there certain places that you're like, yeah, I want to hit that place, or anything like that? Is there anything that stimulates you with locations?
Yeah, I'd say so. And then, yours is definitely one of those venues. I think any venue you show up to and you know that the staff is good, they do have the amenities that is going to make your day that much brighter and better. Maybe they always have a good catering staff or something of those, when it gives you something to look forward to instead of a grumpy staff that could care less who the artist is coming through. They just want to get the show done. That makes a huge difference when you walk into a venue and they care about their venue and they take ownership of their venue. That's rare, and you guys are one example, and it's actually very few and far between that you find those venues that do that. And then it's the nostalgic venues, even if they don't take care of you very well. But if you go play Red Rocks, okay, yeah, it's Red Rocks, you want to play there, and I tell you what, I feel bad for any crew that has to load into that joint. It's a pain in the ass. But what a legendary venue to go play. So you get those places, plus places like yours where they take care of a band. Those are the ones you look forward to. Or if it happens to be one of your personal favorite cities. Like for me, one of my favorite cities is New Orleans. I could play a hole in the wall where they treat me like shit. I'm still in New Orleans. I love it. So it doesn't matter. And food, as simple as that is, just if you put out a good spread, your venue could be falling apart and the ticket sales weren't that good, but if I can have a good, well-made meal that's not a hamburger hot dog, that means a lot.
I imagine trying to eat healthy can be a challenge in a lot of locations.
It can be, especially early on in the early touring years where you couldn't, maybe request as much, or you were, I remember there was tours, and I won't name the names of the bands that we toured with, but maybe didn't treat us that well and said, okay, you can't have breakfast or lunch, and neither can your crew, but you can show up for dinner after we're done.
Wow.
And you scraps, basically. Those are tough tours. Nowadays, we're very lucky where a lot of times if we're doing an extended tour, we'll carry catering with us. And then you can really not only pick your caterer, but you can say, hey, these are our dietary requirements. And it's not crazy, but we want a healthy meal. Maybe, the band wants to make sure we have a protein and veg. Zach's an extremely picky eater. Those kinds of things, or, we've got a few people on the tour that might be vegetarians, so they have to have that option, or gluten-free, or whatever the new keto fad is, whatever else. We try to accommodate everybody to the best of our ability.
And is it you that is the barbecue guy?
Myself and Zach.
Okay, I was going to say, I've seen many Instagram videos and posts of you guys with some delicious looking spread going on.
Yeah, we both love to cook. Zach's, he grew up in Memphis, which is one of the kings of barbecues, so he's definitely got the Memphis style down. I've just always enjoyed cooking. I love to cook. That's my other passion outside of the arts, is just cooking. Not that cooking can't be an art, I guess it can be, but I enjoy it, and my wife can't cook at all, so I cook a bunch of food while I'm home, and then I usually freeze and prepare the meals. So when I leave on tour, they've got 2 freezers full of meals, so they never have to worry about it. She calls herself the queen of reheating. So.
Oh, nice. So 2020, your family's been eating real good.
Oh yeah, I got my at home weight on.
Yeah, we all have. I understand that. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate having all three of you back. Well, Sanjay and John, I appreciate you guys coming back. Barry, it is a tremendous honor to have you on here and to be able to talk about this with you. It's so great to see you guys. We can't wait to see you back at the venue whenever that may be. 2020, at the beginning of this year when we were getting close to our draft pick, which was what shows we picked, I did not see Shinedown on that list, and I was like, come on, you guys are there almost every year. I wanted to see you guys so much this year, but I know you were working on other stuff, but unfortunately the whole thing fell apart. But anyways, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. John,
we all do. Thank you.
As always, thank you for hooking us up with everything, John. I'm glad to, you and I have chatted a lot online and stuff like that. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can do more together. Sanjay, as always, you're one of my favorites when it comes to photography, and now you've had all this time to kind of fine-tune stuff, so I'm really excited for what's going to happen next.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you so much for all your time. I can't wait to see you guys again. I can't wait to whatever it is you're working on in the studio. I'm super psyched, man. I'm a huge Shinedown guy, so
Gonna be good.
Be healthy, guys.
John, thank you so much for rounding everybody up. I'll talk to you online. Sanjay, thank you so much for joining us again.
Bye, guys.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Bye, Third Eye Blind.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Tales from the Pit. We had a great time tonight with John, Sanjay, and Barry from Shinedown. Check us out, talesfromthepit.net. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. See you next time.